What's going on, you guys? Your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the boxing community in this case. I don't talk about boxing that much on my channel, but I decided that, you know what? I'm going to put my 2 cents on the whole situation when it comes to Deontay Wilder, giving the media and his critics the silent treatment. And the best thing that I can tell you right now is I'm loving it. I'm loving what Deontay Wilder is doing. Because right now, he's basically giving everybody the middle finger to all of his critics, especially to the media that basically trashed on him, and all the YouTube channels that keep trashing about him, even to the lead up to this, even to the lead up to the third fight. Now, I've always been skeptical about how people move around through the whole YouTube boxing community. And before I did the video, I actually wanted to. I listened into some of the hater channels, and I'm not going to say what the hater channels are because you know they don't deserve any shine on my channel or anywhere else. But I wanted to get a little bit of the drift of what the hatred is coming from, and right now it's becoming contagious. It's like a mental illness going on with this hatred going on for Deontay Wilder that is not really healthy. And particularly towards that one troll that always shows up on Barbershop Conversations channel. That guy, let me tell you something. That guy needs he needs mental help because he is a schizophrenic, human being that is going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and he's going to get the worst beating of his life. I'm telling you, you. I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before that happens. But I get this, getting a lot of the sense that a lot of the hatred is coming from the fact that it's race related. You cannot tell me otherwise. It is purely race hated. And I also wanted to say salute to Quest X for also doing his due diligence and also tweeting out to you know uh, Mike Coppinger and getting that response saying it's not about race. When clearly a lot of the writing and a lot of the articles that have been written about Wilder, about black fighters historically, have been race related. So yes, this fight and everything around this fight is entirely race related. It's not just about how Fury, what uses his dirty message to cheat and basically was able to get away with it for a while and tried to circumvent away from a third fight, which failed badly. But the fact that Wilder did not even spoke one word about this to anyone in the media and anyone working for any of the top media publications speaks volumes to where his mindset is at. He don't care about what they have to say. He don't care what they write about because during that whole litigation process, he probably was looking at a lot of the stuff that was being said and was written about him, all the other videos that was being said about him, and he's basically saying, "All right, if y'all want to say this about me, okay, that's fine, no problem. I'm not gonna say one thing about you guys. I'm not even gonna mention your name and mention your existence. All right, because at this point right now, the man is in kill mode, ready to take Tyson Fury's head off. And I'm gonna tell you this: Tyson Fury tried to play the old same character that he's been doing throughout his career, but I get the sense it's a bit different now because the whole the whole landscape of boxing is on now, guys. Fury is under a lot more pressure than he's ever been throughout his entire life. He has to prove that he can beat Deontay Wilder clean in the middle of the ring with no controversy, no cheating, nothing. You know that the gloves are going to be inspected this time around. All right, everything's going to be inspected. There'll be no letting up this time. Trust me. Now, the other thing that I also wanted to tell you about is this: a lot of these hater channels that speak ill will about Wilder, talking about, oh, it's not about race. I just never liked Wilder because of his skinny legs. Wilder, it's just he's too prideful, man. He's just too strong of a black guy, man. I just can't fall along with that. All the same troll lines, which I'm not going to repeat all the time because they just become this, diluted. But the thing that I've really been, catching around here is that this is more than just about winning back a title. This is more about just avenging a loss. This is more about regaining that pride, and it's race related war between these two guys. There's no way to try to sideswipe it. I've talked to a lot of people outside of outside of YouTube, and they're pretty much in agreement of what I'm saying. This is more than just winning a belt back. This is much more than that. It's about black pride. It's about reestablishing and getting back something that was basically taken away from. That's what it really comes down to. And anyone else that tries to say otherwise, you're full of crap, because this is way more than just winning a belt back. Now, you know what's sad? It's sad that a lot of these hater channels that come around spitting out their hypocrisy, spitting out their red herrings, their useless garbage about boxing. But at the same time, you hear these channels when they talk about, oh, Wilder's fan club is just they're just too prideful, man. They still stick around him even if he loses. Why are you still sticking around with him? And to that I say, okay, why do you care about it? Canelo's fan club has not wavered off of him, even after he lost with Floyd Mayweather. Okay, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. His fan club, his fan base increased dramatically even after he lost to Frankie Randall and Oscar De La Hoya. So cut the BS now. And even so, Lomachenko's fan base, they're still around, right? Even though it's not as big as as you say, as a Wilder or a Spence, but they're still around. Terrence Crawford, of all the criticism that's been laid out on him, he still has his fan base. Somewhat of a loyal fan base that has been there with him. Same for Earl Spence Jr. Same for Gennady Golovkin. All right, and even for Tyson Fury himself, which I don't believe most of the guys are really honestly fans of him at all. They're just using him to hide their own true racism, and that's really what it's been the big thing about this. They're using Tyson Fury to basically as a shield to their own agenda for their racism. You know what they really want more than anything else? They want an undisputed white heavyweight champion. They've been pursuing that since the beginning of time, since you know Jack Dempsey was the last one off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but they've been looking for that historically, and unfortunately, it hasn't always come into fruition. And they feel that Tyson Fury is the last line of that dream to becoming reality. And so, when a day comes on July 24th, you better hope and pray that Deontay Wilder does not win the fight. Because when he does, and I'm using the word win because I do believe that he will win. When he does, trust me, there's going to be a lot of talk about possibly a fourth fight. And don't be surprised if Deontay Wilder said, you're not getting a fourth fight with me. I've already beaten you. I proved my point. Now I can move on and face against Anthony Joshua. And I do believe this. I do believe that Anthony Joshua will never fight Deontay Wilder. I didn't believe it when they were talking about it then, and I still don't believe it now. Everything that Joshua said is full of crap. And even Eddie Hearn, everything he says is full of crap. They're just banking on the hope that Tyson Fury can still outclass Deontay Wilder again, whatever they're thinking, and still go on with their plans between Fury and Joshua, which I told you all before. And I had a troll that basically said, "Well, how does it feel now that Fury announced that the fight was going to happen?" I said, "Arbitration hasn't been even settled yet." And yet still you still have people that will come in here and try to dispute anything that we try to say because they just want to always want to be proven right. And that is sad. That is very, very, very sad. So the only thing I got to say about it is this: start counting on the days when Fury gets his comeuppance, that he finally gets his own reality check. Because when he does, he's going to go back to irrelevancy where he belonged in the first place, back into the dumpster bin, and has to face again all the other charges that have been surrounding him, back home in the UK. Because I will tell you this. There's going to be a lot of American promoters around boxing that are going to want nothing to do with this guy because the guy is just freaking toxic in his mind. His entourage is just freaking toxic. Everything around this man is freaking toxic. Yeah, but the same with these YouTube, a lot of these hater YouTube channels, they're toxic in their own way. So hey, you know, want just bring down let's clear out all the trash of it all together. And another thing too that I also wanted to point out this before I get out of here. I felt the same kind of resentment, the same kind of heat when it came down to the whole situation between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Saw a lot of YouTube channels that was dedicated of hating Mayweather and basically praising everything Manny Pacquiao did, despite the fact that he's basically said, anti-gay comments. He's hated against, the LGBT community. He's basically wishing them they were all dead. Okay. And basically nobody's even had the audacity to report that. And more importantly, Freddie Rhodes even said some racist stuff towards Brandon Rios' team, towards the Garcias, Robert Garcia, and towards his guys when Alex Ariza was part of their team, and yet and still, you still got people out there that were defending Manny Pacquiao to the bitter end. And when he lost to Mayweather, I saw a lot of those channels basically disappeared out of the work, or they just stopped uploading videos altogether because there was nothing to talk about anymore. There was nothing to talk about because he was basically your savior and your protection. And when that protection was gone, you all were exposed to what you are, and y'all got kicked to the curb like the useless garbage that you are. And that's where I'm saying where this is going. You know why? Because a lot of the hater channels are basically garbage, absolute freaking garbage. And when that day happens, when Wilder gets his belt back and basically wipes the floor with Tyson Fury, those same people are gonna have a lot of things to talk about, but their content and everything else is gonna start running pit dry, and we're gonna sit back in here in the right side of history. So that's just my 2 cents. You guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And by the way, if you try to troll and say any racial stuff on my video, you will be blocked, and I will report you to YouTube on site. Try me. Peace.